Okay, this is a much later start than I initially planned on it being. With it all being... Okay, with that all being said, I think I am good to start. We just do one final check on stuff, and then we'll go from there. This is going to be a late stream for sure. Okay. Got that going. I think the music is way too loud. Yeah, I turned up music. At least on my YouTube. I don't know how it is on stream, but... Okay. So, welcome everyone. Today is a little bit different. It is later than I initially goddamn planned, but I had a bit of a work thing that I got sucked into, and I didn't get out of work until, an hour and a half ago. So, my initial plan for starting at 7 got pushed back now to 8:30. But, with that being said, I bought this mini, I guess I would say, a little bit ago, and it just came in the mail on yesterday. It came in the mail yesterday, and I am excited to paint it. It is a mixture of like Godzilla and a snapping turtle, and I have a diorama idea that I want to use this mini for. So we'll spend tonight trying to paint up this diorama a little bit. Damn, I don't have the place I got it from listed, and I really should. But we're going to get this guy painted up. And then I'm also going to paint... I have a diorama base that I will probably use. It's one that I used before, but that will be part of tomorrow's stream. This is very last second trying to get everything together for this. So, that all being said, I'm going to dry brush this Bad Larry gray. And then from there, we'll get to painting. How much paint is on there? It is quite a bit. It feels like way too much gray. Did I have too much on? I think I did. It'll get covered up. Oh, hair's not getting stuck on the brush, but what I am planning on doing for this mini is I think I'll also use this mini in my AOS Seraphon army or Lizardman army. Use it as one of the like big dino creatures. I also want, the main idea for this mini and this diorama is I'm working on my own homebrew chapter. And I'm taking some inspiration from, my favorite things and my favorite movies to build this chapter. Those two main things that I'm pulling the main thing I'm pulling inspiration from is from the Jurassic Park series of movies. Mostly movie 2 and 3, when they're just on Isla Sorna, I think is the name of the island. And it's more of a survival aspect, and you're just seeing these creatures in their natural habitat than if you were to see them in a park. So that is the basis of the home planet for the Space Marine chapter. And I bought this model, like I said a while ago, and I figured, hey, why not build a diorama of my Space Marine's home planet showing off one of the creatures, being this giant turtle mini. So I am going through and doing that. I'm going to try streaming for 3 hours. I don't mind staying up late tonight to make it up to everybody, but also we'll see how many people we get. I also want to use this mini in D&D in general. The person I bought it from gave me a couple bases as well. Like, this is the base it's supposed to sit on. I don't think it's going to be able to sit on that. And they also gave me a little free mini. This little, like, fish dude. So at some point, I will have to paint that up. I have to turn my lights a little bit. They're not focused in the center, I feel like. There we go. I did not get enough gray off the shell, or off the brush. That is my fault. I hope everyone's had a good week so far. Is enjoying themselves. My week has been going good. I know I talked to everyone I talked to chat like literally a day ago. But not much has really changed from that day. I'll say the reason why I'm so late is that my boss wanted to go vehicle shopping for a dump truck, which we need a new dump truck. Ours is slowly getting old and falling apart. And he decided to do this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was a 2-hour drive to get to where we wanted to go. And, of course, once you get there, you get to a dealership and all that stuff. You spend more than just, like, an hour there. It's not just you show up and then you turn around and drive back. So, I'm a little annoyed and frustrated because I like coming here at a certain time. I think people expect me here at a certain time. I'm also happy just to get here now and get this guy going. My thought for the diorama, and I did draw last night, I drew up a plan that I had. If anyone remembers the scene from the first Jurassic Park movie where the T-Rex like knocks a vehicle over and destroys a fence, or even from like the third movie and you got the Spinosaurus that breaks through the fence and kind of like chases someone, I want to do a little bit of that scene mixed with the velociraptors in the kitchen. So what I have drawn up is, because this mini is like doing a bit of a sniffing pose, and it's got one arm raised up on the other side. So my thought is to have this set on the ground and have another mini behind like a rock on this diorama, hiding, hoping not to be found, while this turtle monster creature is hunting after them. And having like a broken fenced area just up over on a hill. So that is my plan. And I am actually excited to build it. Because like I said, I had a diorama base back when I was doing an art competition not too long ago. I was going to do this really big like diorama piece and have Space Marines fighting this like orc dragon model. And it didn't work out. But I still have the base for that. I have it painted up this sandy color. I'm actually going to change the sandy color because I'm deciding a different soil color for my Space Marines homeworld. For anyone that watched like the old BBC like Walking with Dinosaurs series and remembers the Cretaceous period with like all the volcanoes and the black like volcanic soil around and all that, that's what I'm picturing for most of this planet. Not saying there isn't like, you know, brown leaf litter and stuff like that or sand in this area, but most of the planet is just like a black earthy soil. And there's no grass. I'm thinking it's like very themed after like the Cretaceous period of no grass, but there is like low vegetation and things like that. And ferns and a very humid tropical planet. I'm also tempted the next time I play a D&D character, I want him to have a pet, like dragon turtle or turtle creature. I don't know. I like snapping turtles and turtles in general. They are one of my favorite reptiles out there. They have such a unique evolutionary history as well. I believe people aren't really sure, at least paleontologists aren't sure, how turtles really like began or started out. I haven't done much research into it, but I think it's unique. And one of my favorite dinosaurs in general looks like a giant turtle. I also remember today that in Australia there was a giant turtle that was walking around. Well, more like a tortoise, I guess. It was more like a giant tortoise. So it wasn't aquatic, but I don't know. Our planet used to have so many unique and cool creatures, and I don't think people realize how alien our planet actually is, even to us. Like me as a regular human being, I don't realize how weird some of the creatures in just my neck of the woods are. Like you see the everyday regular creatures such as like deer or crows or cows and farm animals where I am, but even like the little stuff, there's some like really odd birds out there. There's amphibians that look kind of weird and crazy. Insects are in general as well very diverse is the word I'll use. I'm not the biggest fan of insects in general. Some of them. I'm not a fan of caterpillars. Caterpillars are not a... some of them. I don't like certain caterpillars, but that's a different story there. This would be really good if I had my airbrush. This would be a good mini to like try airbrushing on, not just dry brushing. I do like the uniqueness of this model. It is like a... I will say, if I was to design this guy, I probably would have made the shell a little bit less thick on the back. It's got a very, like, human pose as well. A very ape-like. It's kind of doing that, like... I mean, I know it's sniffing the air, but you'd almost see this as like a superhero just sitting on the side of a building watching over a city. But it does have the feel of not being one solid shell. It's very flexible. I'm very much a fan of these like long claw-like fingers as well. I like to think that this is an active predator on the planet. It's grown out of being like an ambush style predator. Like it will still ambush, but it's actually now able to like pursue its prey. I probably, also now looking at, would have given it a bigger ankle size area, because that's a big foot compared to ankle size. Like I feel like that's actually going to snap if I was running like this. Maybe it isn't designed for running. It gives me such like a mobility style pose. I will admit, when I first bought this mini, I thought it was going to be like this big. But I'm kind of happy it actually turned out a little bit smaller than I thought. I do want to get a mini like that big at some point. At that point, I know it's not a mini. But I think it'd be cool to have that sitting on the shelf. Just this. I want to get like a turtle dragon. That's a D&D mini I want to get. Is I can buy a cheaper one on Etsy, and I know that. And that's where I bought this. I bought this off of Etsy. And I thought this would be a good like turtle dragon style creature. This almost looks like a Fallout. God, what's their name? I'm trying to remember the crab creatures from Fallout. Lurkers? Are they lurkers? No, they're not lurkers. But if anyone knows what I'm talking about, I know in like 3 in New Vegas, they have a like the humanoid turtle creatures that live in like water areas. Though it's kind of similar to that. Like this is a mixture between the Fallout 4 style of Mirelurk. The word I was looking for was Mirelurk. This looks like a mixture between like a Fallout 4 Mirelurk and a Fallout New Vegas Mirelurk. Like this is what 4 should have had its Mirelurk look like. It's the Mirelurk King. My correction, Mirelurk King. I do like the design of the Fallout 4 Mirelurk King. It's very amphibian-like. And like I said before, I mean, I am a fan of reptiles, but amphibians are also another creature I'm a fan of. Hence, looking at my little guy that I have on screen that bounces up and down every time I talk. That's a little amphibian dude. I know it looks odd now, just like doing all this gray, but it'll be fine. Probably could go a little bit heavier on the dry brushing as well. Should I give it a secondary coat of dry brushing? I don't know. No. No, I won't. What color am I thinking? I keep thinking of like regular turtle colors. Like browns and greens and all that, but like I said earlier, I mean, there is browns and greens, but there's not a lot of it. Okay. Oh, you know what? I will actually stick with some of the greens. What do I have for colors I really haven't used before? Got a lot of teals. I could do something with the teals. I am curious. I want to test and see what it would look like with a brown, but yes. Okay. Kind of decided on a not a shell color, but on a skin color, what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit it with some angel green as a base. And then I am going to do, I think, stripes of black here and there. Or just spots of black. I'm not sure which entirely yet. I think where I want to start is definitely on the... I'll do the leg. On my free time, when I get a chance to, I like looking up speculative evolution videos. One that I'm a fan of a lot right now is based on a planet called, I think, Kappa. The YouTube channel that poses it, it's a planet. The only creatures on it, like it's a seeded world, is nothing but turtles and like some isopod-like creatures that live there. So there's like no fish or there's no mammals. I think it's like butterflies, aquatic insects, and like snapping turtles are the main creatures that are on the planet. It's a very good series. I have been following along with it. I want another video out so bad, but I know it takes time for that style of stuff. Like, it's all 3D rendered. He does like little documentary style videos. And I love the series so far. I think it's been very unique. So as I'm painting this guy, I'm kind of thinking on that guy's world, but also like, you know, my own world and what it's like. And I think this creature hunts in very wet terrain, like something that, because it's got very wide splayed feet to spread out its weight, and it has opposable hands, so it definitely walks on two legs. It looks mobile, but it's not like a pursuit predator. It is, if something gets stuck in the mud, this creature will come out and attack whatever is stuck, or, you know, whatever is struggling in like these wet, marshy areas. They're a little bit of a pursuit predator, probably, just with the act of smelling. I know turtles in general don't have, I believe they don't have a good sense of smell, but this is also a fictional space planet, so maybe this particular species is more of an omnivore. It's an opportunistic creature, like feeding off of plants if it has to, but preferring to eat like meat and stuff like that. I think that is a good idea. I'm still fleshing everything out, so this is just me talking out my ideas and also using like what I have for a model, because I mean, thinking back on like quicksand and like La Brea tar pits, I don't think humans have ever been discovered in like the La Brea tar pits. I don't know if many bipedal creatures have been discovered and stuff like that. I don't keep up to date with my Mesozoic paleontology. But I think we would have a better time getting out because we're only on 2 legs and we have the ability to pull ourselves out with our arms. Not really get stuck. And that's kind of also what I'm picturing here. Monster Hunter Wilds. No, World. Monster Hunter World just pops in my head as well. And like the desert section of Wilds. No, Worlds. I'm getting the 2 confused. They both start with W. I gotta pull it up so I actually know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, Monster Hunter World. I know in the desert section they have a very like wetland section. And maybe that's this creature's preferred hunting area. I'm not going to get into the whole biodiversity. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to get into the whole biodiversity of my home, my cousin Space Marine chapter's home planet, but just to show that this is the kind of creatures that live there. Because most Space Marines come from a death world, and I'm picturing this place as a death world. Like, there's only one safe, livable hive city on the entire planet. Like, I know Catachan. Catachan would be a good example of, like, a very inhospitable place. That and Fenris. Catachan and Fenris. Like, I think Catachan has 4 hive cities on it. Like, 4 sections where people can actually live safely. I know on Fenris people live pretty much everywhere, but there's, like, the main place where the Space Marines live is like the safest hive city. In quotes, safest. So on my planet, there's only like one safe city that I think I might call the Pit. Main reason being, and I've had this idea for like a while with a Space Marine chapter, is that their main home, or their main, like, base of operations, their chapter fortress and stuff, is based within an underground hive city that's in a cave. Like, I had this idea that, like, you could see a hive city, but above it, all the way, is this giant cavern that protects it from above. Excuse me. And then they just expand underground extremely deep. So I think that's my plan for their fortress. And I have it drawn up. I've gone through and I've like drawn up what the hive city looks like. I've done the planet as well, what the planet kind of looks like from space. And I am making a video on this. I'm building it slowly. I think I've decided a Space Marine color scheme. Or at least I found some colors that I like, and I got them to work together. And it's unique enough for me to be happy with. I think I am. Well, not I think. I have the idea of taking a lot of bits from the Lizardmen model range from Age of Sigmar and incorporating it into my Space Marines. So I'm probably going to take like the Saurus's spears and shields and try to use those. Although I don't want to take too many because I do want to build that combat patrol as it is. But what started this idea a little bit was I was scrolling through Instagram and someone took the Raptors from the Lizardman line and mounted or had them mounted by some Kriegsmen or like Death Riders from the Death Corps Krieg. And I really like that idea. And I'm like, I want to have a world where that is a common occurrence. But it's not like Dinotopia, if anyone knows like Dinotopia. Because it obviously has to be grimdark in some way. I will say the main lore for this planet is it used to be a very, like, there used to be a lot of cities. There used to be a lot of outposts. But after some accident, whether it be a warp storm or some sort of event, there's now only one safe area on this entire planet. It's like the planet is actively rebelling against humans being on it. Like, of course, as a death world, it is actively hostile to humans. What am I doing? There we go. That's what I need. But, you know, this is just my headcanon. I like to think what I have planned is that the people constantly keep trying to go out there and resettle some of these old outposts. So, like in the second Jurassic Park movie and third one, where they come upon the worker village in the second movie, and then the research lab in the third one, how it's overgrown, like science lab area. It's like that. There's all these types of buildings and stuff around. And there's constantly creatures living in them and like taking over them, and it's a battle between like nature and man man's trying to resettle, but then nature comes in and claims it again. So the humans might have like a outpost for at most like a month or two, but then something will come along and nature will claim it again. And for this Space Marine chapter, I'm going to steal an idea from the Space Wolves, where they have their I forget the word. I'm going to say initiate, but that's not the right word. Where they have to send their aspirants, the word is aspirants, out. And they have to defeat one of the creatures out within this forest and come back with some sort of trophy. They don't have to kill said creature, they just have to, like, even coming back with, like, a claw or something like that. Like, you did battle the creature and you came back with something from the battle. Would be enough to turn you into a space marine. But if you fully defeat it, that's seen as a higher honor, so most people try to defeat it, but they don't have to. I have a few other ideas, and I don't want to get out all the ideas out there. I want to talk about this so much, but I want to wait till I'm, like, working on the chapter and I'm building a 2,000 point list, and I'm going to paint them in. I'm going to paint those Marines, and that's when I'll talk about them the most. But I've given, like, the basics. I've given what I had made so far. There's a very big class divide on this planet, I will say. The only building that sits on the actual surface above the, like, the ridge of the cavern is the Space Marines, like, own monastery fortress. It sits at the top because they're the only ones that can actually, like, hold back the planet. It's like creatures that come and, like, try to invade. Other than that, everything else is, like, below the planet surface. They do have an airspace that ships can fly into, but it's like a enclosed dock. Like, certain bays will open up, and then once the ship's inside, it closes back up as soon as it can before anything can get back in. And if you watched Attack on Titan, it's got a wall, like, that big surrounding the front of the city. So, like, this half is the cave, and, like, the cliff is above and the monastery is up here. This whole section out here has a wall as big from Attack on Titan, blocking everything else out. There's not many entrances to get through the wall, because the more entrances you have, the more likely it is for something to be able to sneak through and get inside, which is a very big possibility, because you got creatures like this that, hell, even with their claws, can burrow through, like, the concrete and rocks to get at the people inside and other creatures like that. And my thought was, like, you know, also with Tyranids as well. Like, couldn't some Tyranids just, like, burrow underneath and get into it? And, like, yeah, that's a possibility. That's a full possibility. Or just any creatures in general could try to burrow underneath. And that's where the very large class divide comes in. Most of, or all the people that are, like, the upper hive and stuff like that, they want to be near the surface, and they want to have as many peons down below them, so that if anything does burrow from below, they have that protection. And, like, the further down you go, obviously, if you've ever been in a cave that's been packed with a lot of people and you've been in a wet, humid environment, if you've been in a cave in general, they stay a very constant temperature all year round. They're very cool in the summer, and they can be relatively warm if you got a good heating source in a cave. I actually worked on a... One job I had, at least for the company I'm currently working for, it wasn't a big one, but we were building a underground bunker for somebody. They, like, did a bunch of research and decided that, like, this particular area where I live is the best survivable if there's a, like, nuclear blast, with, like, the way the wind currents are and stuff like that. So what they decided is they had this big area flattened out, blew up like they had us blow up a giant balloon pretty much. And then we put up rebar and then did spray concrete on the inside of it. And that hardened up, and then that was the shell of the building. And then we did some work on the inside. Eventually, what's going to happen is that this building is going to get completely covered in dirt. Like, some parts of it will be exposed, but most of it will be covered in dirt. We had to, like, dig out a pretty good size of a mountain to, like, I say a mountain. I'm going to say more of a hill. We dug out a pretty good size of a hill to make the base for it and get the material that we need, and we'll pretty much have to do the same thing again just to bury it. I don't know when we'll get around to burying it. I think they're still doing a bunch of, like, inside work and some other things like that to it. And I don't want to give away where it is, because I've seen, like, Doomsday Prepper and stuff like that, and those people can be very protective of, like, those places. And, you know, he's a very friendly guy. A little bit odd. I think most people that decide to build a giant cave. But yeah, that's like one of the coolest projects I've ever worked on. And I guess it's some inspiration for the city I'm thinking of. Anyway, I think what I started with this whole thought is the more bodies and people you have, and of course in Hive City everything flows down, it's really not good at the bottom of this cave. And they call this place the pit because it does, like, funnel. There is a giant pit in the center of this Hive City. No one knows how deep it goes. It is an extremely deep pit. And maybe they have tried to find the bottom of it. Maybe they haven't. Who knows? That is for me to decide, and somehow people will find out. I gotta close this. But I hope that everyone's been enjoying the stream so far. I'm excited to work on something that's not just Warhammer for once, and just kind of being here and geeking out a little bit to everyone. I will say, for on the wet palette, how this green looks, it's a lot darker than what it actually is being painted on as. I think we'll be spending quite a bit of time painting up this guy and doing the diorama. Probably still be working on the diorama when I move. Excuse me. Let's see. How much of the underside I need? If anybody is a Monster Hunter fan, can you tell me if there's like a monster that looks similar to this model? I feel like there is. There has to be. The only one that can kind of come a little bit to mind for me is like Lagiacrus. But it's not even like really that close. It's mostly just because of the spikes. Actually, I will be back in a moment. I am going to use the bathroom. I will be right back. Okay, I am back. I think I need to do another layer of this green, but I'm also going to move up in brightness as well. I think I'll do a mixture of like this dark green and maybe like a teal color. I should dig through some of my models and see, because I just had another idea for this diorama. Maybe instead of like sniffing, this creature has a person pinned underneath this hand and is like eating an arm or something out of its mouth. I don't know. Wish I could add some different options for heads. This came as like one solid piece. I thought it would come into like a couple pieces when I ordered it. So many ideas in so little time. That's what I'll say. No. It's going to be an ever-evolving diorama. Like, I'll think of one thing and then realize, like, after I did something, like, oh, I should have done this instead. Which I think happens a lot to people. They always come up with a better idea after they did said thing. Should have taken a bit of sandpaper and smoothed up some spots, but also the little bumps and stuff work for like the skin or the shell, just to be like a little bit of maybe extra protection. Trying to figure out its own eye placement on the model. Like, when I look at it head on, its tusk I feel like would get in the way of being able to see. So it must only see like from the sides and not like dead on as a regular predator. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's only the males that have tusks and the females don't. Sometimes the models tell a story for you and you don't really have to put much work into it. This is definitely not the top predator on the planet. Maybe like one of the vassal predators. Or lesser ones. Still deadly. But not the most deadly. Or not the apex, that's the word I'm looking for. It could be one of the most deadly just for humans or stuff. Or smaller creatures, depending on the situation you find yourself in. Maybe this creature's preferred prey is very slow, heavy creatures that get stuck very easily. So if there's a group of humans driving in a vehicle and it gets stuck and they're making a lot of noise trying to get out, Well, guess who's showing up? Another TV show that I forgot that I'm also pulling inspiration from. I now can't remember it, but it was about humans in the future going back to, I think, South America during the Cretaceous. Excuse me. And it was like the portal was in one place, but it was like away from the main hub where people were living in the past. One scene I remember very well is a bunch of vehicles going through a field. And they're shooting at like a Carnotaurus. And one guy takes one down and like shoots it, stumbles it, and he's not paying attention. Well, up behind him from the wood line, like just behind him, comes up a second Carnotaurus, grabs him out of the vehicle, and tears him apart. So I feel like a scene like that would be common if you're not careful. Especially if it's a creature with opposable thumbs. Like those. I feel like that has to be an opposable thumb, but those claws. Okay, I got a little bit longer before. I got an ad with that. There's just so much storytelling wise that you can do with something so simple. I'm still debating if this is like a pack hunting creature or if this is a solo hunting creature. It could be opportunistic. Depending on the situation and what the season and climate are like, they could be pack hunters or solo. Maybe if they're in a more open, dry environment, they are pack hunters. But when they're in their more preferred habitat of being wet and marshy and easily to get stuck in, they're more solo. Maybe not. Because like I said, their preferred prey is large, heavy creatures. And it might be easier to take down a large, heavy creature when you have a bunch of guys helping you. As if you're in an area that's not your favorite habitat. Trying to get a meal to share with a group could be relatively hard. So you want to save that for yourself. I think it's opportunistic. They're opportunistic depending on whether they hunt solo or together. Probably the younger ones live in a more arid area. Not able to claim a proper territory for themselves yet. So they have to spend time away from these wet, marshy terrains that they prefer. And then as they get older and larger, they are able to claim a territory of their own. I think that's a very good... It's a very good analogy. And I think a lot of creatures do that already in nature. I know with a lot of stuff I watch, it's like speculative stuff. I don't remember the name of the channel. I remember the name of the world. Do I? I think I just drew a blank on what the name of the world was in my head. Chimera, Kyrule. Oh, Kyrule's one of the continents in this world. I'm trying to remember the name of the planet. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to look it up for myself in general because I am curious. Speculative evolution. See if I can find... Chimere. The name of the place was Chimere. So like the name of the channel is Keenan Taylor's Tale of Chimere. I like his speculative evolutionary series. If people get a chance to or find that interesting, I would recommend that. Now I need to go back to my YouTube and actually... Okay, we got a few minutes before that plays an ad. Trying to decide. I'm trying to decide if this is an adult creature in my world or if this is a adolescent. I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'll decide for myself. I do like the idea of them being somewhat ambush predators. Just with the way the shell looks, like it is somewhat mobile and flexible. But, you know, being able to hide in the mud and just snap a creature up, I still feel like it's a very useful skill. And they have a very thick tail as well. They got some thick upper leg muscles, very wide base feet, thick bicep. I think bicep muscles is what I'm currently painting up here. And some very opposable thumbs. Well, not just opposable thumbs, but very, very prominent hands. I wonder if the person that designed this model based it off of the, was it 1998 like Zilla movie or Godzilla movie that was based in New York? Anyone know the one I'm talking about? The one where like Godzilla goes to New York and lays a bunch of eggs. So then there's these like egg-like or raptor-like creatures now running around. I know they made a cartoon about it later on. I watched it as a kid. That movie I watched as a kid, and I actually enjoyed it because I found, you know, Jurassic Park to be really cool, and seeing like a giant reptile run through the city and then like some raptor-like ones that are just kid versions of that. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. That's scary, but also really cool. I want to see more of that. Now, actual Godzilla, I like... I still like Zilla a bit more just because I like the more dinosaur design. But OG Godzilla is cool as well. I like Kong, Kong Skull Island and, you know, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I have not seen any of the newer Godzilla movies. I should correct that. The only one I have seen is... I might cut the music before it plays an ad. The only one I have seen is Kong Skull Island, like set in the 50s during the Vietnam War. I think that's the one. And I've seen clips of like the one where, was it 2001, 2002? Trying to remember. You gonna play? Or are you going to? There we go. I gotta watch some more monster movies. I will say I like all the monsters that I've seen so far in the Godzilla series. There's one that I wanted to see a lot more of, or at least eventually. I think he's a giant mountain, and he's like a... he looks like a giant turtle, from what I understand. Like, the legend in the Godzillaverse is like, oh, there was a village here one day, and then a mountain appeared randomly one day, and the village was gone. And it was like the monster just was walking and then sat on the village, hiding it from everybody. I also like Doug. Doug from All the Ziffers. I think his name is Doug, but it's like the four-legged lizard in the underworld. I mean, it's still relatively big, but compared to Godzilla, like, it looks like Godzilla, but just small. Try to stretch my ankle out a little bit. It's feeling better. It is feeling quite a bit better compared to yesterday, but it's just still a little sore from being sprained. Probably didn't have to paint that particular spot, but I am going to. Don't know what I'm even looking at. Need to stay focused on the painting. I keep looking at this model, and I feel like if this creature tried to run, it's just going to snap its ankles. Like, those are some weak ankles. Like, you see what I'm talking about? The foot compared to ankle ratio. Maybe that's why I consider them more of a ambush stealthing kind of creature. It's definitely not comfortable walking on all fours, I'll say that. It is a bipedal creature. There was a point in time where I wanted to make a speculative evolution series. Just because I like nature and making random creatures in general. I went and asked some of my coworkers at the time and my friends of like, hey, pick 3 animals and 3 plants that you would send on a spaceship to go like seed a world to colonize it. In the end, I asked like 15 people, so I had like way more stuff than I probably should have for a Spec Evo thing. Some gave some serious answers and some gave some not so serious. And I was going to go through and like have this whole, oh, what lives, what dies off, and how long it would take for certain things to establish. And I never got around to finishing it or really even starting it that much. But it was fun to think about. Oh, excuse me. Okay, now that I'm done with that green, I think... Yeah, no, I'm definitely late to streaming. I apologize about that earlier. Yeah, I'm doing well. My boss is looking for a new dump truck. And he thought that he would leave with one from the dealership. So he had me tag along. Oh, no, you're good. I didn't start streaming until 8:30, so I'm just kind of explaining to people in general. I wanted to be here at 7, and then I would have... Realistic world. Would have gone out of work. I would have gone out of work at 5, spent some time editing a video, and setting up the stream beforehand. But, no, I had to go 2 hours away to do a dealership and look at vehicles, and we didn't even leave with a vehicle. Wasn't too bad. My boss is my father. I mean, that's a positive and a negative at the same time. But you ever get the feeling where you're like, oh, we're not leaving with anything. Yeah, that's how I felt. Like, we're not coming back with a vehicle. We're going to go down there and end up, like, wasting our time. Not fully a waste, but it's just, like, could have been doing other things. God, one of the vehicles we went and looked at, they've not been taking care of this vehicle, and it got a bunch of, like, salt damage, which where I live, some people or some areas put salt on the road, and that rusts vehicles really bad. And if you don't keep up with the maintenance on said vehicles, it ruins it. Well, someone wasn't keeping this vehicle maintained or greased at all, and grease is for like the joints in between some of the vehicle's parts. We went and picked the bed up of the... We had the dump truck pick its bed up, and it sounded like a foghorn with how loud it was screeching. The people tried to grease it, but they couldn't make it take grease, so they just threw it on the ends to make it look like it was. And it was so loud that I wanted to cover my ears, but I'm like, I don't know if I should or not. I should have. It was that damn loud. And yeah. So say it as it is. We did not leave with that one. We then went to another dealership to go look at a brand new like dump truck. Literally brand new, like off the factory and all that. This is like a 1-ton dump for people that know. So it's like a single cab, everyday person could drive. Thing didn't have that much fuel in it, so we thought, hey, while we test drive it, we'll go fill it up. I went inside to buy some snacks while my boss was trying to fill up the dump truck. And for anyone that drives certain... I'm not going to say the name of the vehicle, not that it matters, or the name of the company, but for any of you that are car guys, when you fill up your vehicle, air is supposed to be able to flow out of the tank while you fill it full of fuel. Well, sometimes that part will break, and it's certain companies' vehicles that it will do that with. And it's been a problem for quite a while that people have known about with this particular company. And it's with all their style vehicles, not just what we picked up. Well, we went, filled it up, and as soon as he went to go fill it up, it started clicking like it wouldn't take fuel. And really what it is like you go click it, it'll spew a little bit of fuel into it, but then it'll stop because it thinks it's full. Well, it wasn't. My boss took a video and then went back to the dealership angry and was like, this is a brand new vehicle off your floor, and this is a problem that this brand has had for a long time and not done anything about. So I'm just standing there in the middle of it while he's eventually talking to the manager, and they wanted a ridiculously high price, in my opinion. But I also don't know vehicles that much either, so yeah, we didn't leave with a vehicle from that dealership either, which we bought vehicles from that dealership before. They treat us good. And it's just like, really? So that's all. That was my day, and I would have happily have missed out on doing all that stuff. Although I will take the time that I had to spend time with my father, so there's a positive there. I don't always spend that much time with my dad. We don't always see eye to eye. But yeah, that is why I started late today with the stream. But tomorrow's stream should not be like that. I knock on wood. Tomorrow's stream should not be like that. Well, maybe as a little makeup for being late, I'll start at 6 instead of 7. Although I'm tempted now, and it really depends on what I want to get done. Whether it be a Sunday or Saturday, I'm going to do an early stream. And when I say early, I mean, I will answer that question in a moment, JJ. I'm probably going to start around, excuse me, 8 or 9 in the morning, Eastern time, and we'll go until like 1 o'clock or something in the afternoon. Now, for what I'm painting, I posted this in my Discord, but I bought this turtle mini. What it said on Etsy, it was a mixture between a Godzilla and a snapping turtle. I bought it because I wanted, you know, a cool, unique mini to add to my collection. I thought when I bought this mini, it was going to be like this big or bigger. But I was wrong, which I'm okay with being wrong on that. It's still a good mini, but I thought I'd have this like huge dragon turtle style mini and all that because I wanted to buy a dragon turtle mini. Because besides blue dragons, those are one of my favorite D&D monsters, or at least favorite D&D dragons. And what I decided is that I'm going to take this mini, or this model, not even mini, this model, and I'm going to put it into a diorama. As I've said a couple times on the channel, or for a couple streams, I'm working on a custom Space Marine chapter. And I figured what I do is I'm going to take this creature, put it in a diorama to represent my chapter's homeworld and the type of life forms that live on it. So I've been talking about the chapter's homeworld a little bit, what this creature's probably like, what it does, where it sits on the food chain. Again, this is a death world, so humans do not sit anywhere on it. They probably sit at the bottom of the food chain. But to summarize for those that are new, or at least like new to the stream and listening, the chapter is a combination of a couple things that I enjoy. But I'm a very big dinosaur kid, like through and through. That is, when I was a child, I wanted to be like a paleontologist and stuff like that. And I was really inspired by Jurassic Park, like the original movies or the original trilogy. So I decided that I was going to build, or I was going to have my Space Marine homebrew chapter homeworld be just Jurassic Park on steroids. To be more precise, Jurassic Park 2 and 3, where they just explore Isla Nublar, pretty much, and try to survive. That is the gist of it. I was talking about earlier another show that had humans go back into the past. Like, the Earth was dying. They decided they would go back to, like, through this wormhole, and it led to the Cretaceous period in South America. I can't remember its name. I wish I could. But that's what I decided be some of the inspiration there. And also what inspires it, if anyone remembers the BBC Walking with Dinosaurs, the end part when it was the Cretaceous, and you're like following Tyrannosaurus and all that. I know that was filmed in New Zealand, so the very like volcanic black soil is also what this planet is like. So there's no like grass. There is greenery, but it's not like anything low grass wise. There's like ferns and shrubs is what most of the plant's like. Yes, there are deserts and like leaf litter and all that, but I wanted the majority of it to be a blackened soil place. Because I like that look. So the idea for the diorama, and I have it drawn. It's probably going to freak out the light, so I'm actually going to turn one off real quick. I have the base diorama already done. And that's not what I'm going to show you guys. I did a quick little drawing. I know it's a bad drawing, but just bear with me. This is what I had planned out. Have this big guy stand somewhere along here and have another mini hide behind and show like there's a broken fence and stuff behind, and this is like water over there. So I drew that up last night to kind of give myself an idea on what I wanted to do for this diorama. We'll see how it turns out, but that's what I have planned. So that was the long-winded explanation of what I'm painting. And I'll be doing this for the next couple streams and stuff. I've wanted to do another diorama for a bit now. And this seemed like the perfect time to do one. Okay, so now the next paint I'm using Deep Azura, and I'm mixing it with the Angel Green. Excuse me. I don't want this just to be a pure green creature or green lizard, because I mean, you look at reptiles in general, they're very colorful. And even though this is I am basing it off of a turtle, but this is like a, this is an alien planet. Maybe these creatures do have a bit of color to them. But yeah, I already have the diorama base built and done because it's from my first attempt of doing I was a part of an art competition a little bit ago. I didn't win it or anything, but the idea was to make a diorama using, whatever minis you wanted. And I was going to take some like Warhammer models and try and make like myself and 3 of my gaming buddies and make our Monster Hunter characters, but in like Warhammer form. So we were going to hunt this like orc dragon, I think is a fantasy model. I don't remember its name, but yeah, it's a model of like an orc riding this brutal like wyvern-ish creature. And I built the base for it. And I have it, and it's just sitting. I was going to use it in a terrain making video, but I figured, you know what? I have this particular base, and I want to do a diorama. Why don't I use it and make it a part of what I'm going to be doing? So I will be making other bits for the diorama, but I don't have to worry about making a base. I will also say that dark greenish Azura color actually looks pretty good in my opinion. I was tempted when I got this model to base it off of my little like salamander guy on here and be like, yeah, this is the main predator of my planet. This is what my little guy looks like. But nah. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that much of an ego maniac to make myself a turtle creature. I will say I do wish I had my airbrush with me because I think it would have made some of this a little bit easier to do. I don't know how well you guys can kind of see. Oh, yeah, you can see the color difference in the camera. The more teal to the green. But anyway, I hope everyone's been enjoying their night so far. And I know I'll say this Friday, but if you have any plans, I hope you enjoy your plans this weekend or in general for the week. For myself, I am going to go to not my local Warhammer store, but my local gaming store. I mean, they do sell Warhammer there, but my local gaming store, they're celebrating their 26th anniversary. So they're doing a big like sale of things that they haven't sold through the year. They're also doing a barbecue on like Sunday, so I'm gonna go there for my weekend and hang out and maybe buy some more stuff. Not that I need to, but definitely buy some stuff on a bit of a discount. I mean, that's where I bought some of my... Actually, that's where I bought my, like, terrain making kit. I bought a... They had for sale one of these packs. So they had, like, a Game Master pack. That was the desert-based one for sale. And that was a good purchase, I will say. If your local stores ever do a sale and all that, and they are selling some like D&D terrain stuff or minis and stuff like that, grab it. Because you can use it for Warhammer or anything else really in general. I do got to finish Abaddon on my own time. For those that were here for the last stream, I did Abaddon to the spoiler as a gift for a friend of mine, and all I gotta do left on him is just shade him with some shade paints and do the Space Marine like helmet and army or body below. But I wanted to wait until I tested out my... Because this is for my friend, I wanted the Space Marine helmets and stuff to be, you know, from my homebrew chapter, not just like any random chapter. So it was like some sort of story was being built between my friend and me for when we played. Whenever we play. I've been trying to schedule a Warhammer game with him for a while. Oh, I should schedule one Saturday. That's what I should do. I should reach out to him and see if he wants to do one Saturday. We can actually use the models that we've been, or that I've been painting for each of us. Because I got him into Warhammer and he's bought a couple models. But in exchange for him buying them, I'm the one that is painting them. Because he doesn't like painting. He likes building and doing the tabletop game. which I don't blame them. I like the building and lore. Thinking I'll have this teal color fade into the green here, actually. So let's start up here and bring it. Yeah, that's too teal. It's the hard part. I don't have it made on hand yet. I'm mixing it as I run out. God, this might actually be a short stream for me as much as I planned on being longer. I am tired after the day, and my ankle's starting to bother me a little bit. I've been sitting too long today. So my ankle's like, no, we're done. I'm irritated. It also kind of reminds me of the Jagras from Monster Hunter World. That same pose. Oh, that would have been an interesting color scheme to do for this guy. Oh well. It's like I was saying earlier. You come up with a better idea later when you've already done something for the project that you're working on. That's one of those ideas. That is okay. So the great Jagras from Monster Hunter World, cool monster look. I hate one of or its main ability. I don't hate it because it's bad to fight against it. I don't hate it because I think the monster looks ugly. I get it. As a creature, if you live in a world like Monster Hunter, it makes sense. I hate it for the fact I think it's one of the worst ways to go in general. And, oh God, this also is why I hate snakes. Not that they don't have legs, which is another thing I don't like. And every time I've seen the snake, they always sneak up on me because they're so quiet and stealthy. But I dislike I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. I dislike things being swallowed whole when they're still alive. Still, in general, I also dislike it when things are swallowed whole as well. I know where it stems from. And it stems from goddamn pelicans. Which I know is a weird thing to say, but they are the reason why I hate this the most. such an odd thing, but I despise seagull and pelicans. For one, seagulls are trash birds to begin with. I hate them. If I had the opportunity, I would. If anyone has seen, I think it's a National Geographic thing, or I don't know if it was Animal Planet, but like because fishing has gone so, or like fish population has gotten so low in a certain area, the pelican population couldn't get as much food for their chicks as they could in the past. So they went to like an albatross nesting site or some other seabird. And it was a gang of pelicans walking up with this smug ass attitude. I'm like, oh, they're planning something. Like they're planning like this whole thing. And they would go and take unintended like bird chicks, or not even unintended. They might even just steal them out from underneath the parents and swallow these baby birds whole. And then like fly off with them. And I'm like, that's terrible. And like, I hate that just for the fact of like, oh, I hate that this little cute baby, like that this baby creature is, you know, freshly hatched and didn't even get the chance to survive. But I also found out how terrible it is to, you know, be eaten whole. If you're not killed right away, you will suffocate and die inside the stomach of said creature because you are being crushed by the muscles and the weight. This then makes me think about the newest Jurassic World movie, and I dislike the Quetzalcoatlus scene for that same reason where it eats a guy whole. I don't know. I need to stop this subject, but it's all started because you look similar to a creature that I thought was cool, with a cool color scheme, and then got me into hating like why I despise a certain nature way of eating, I guess. I don't know what the frig I'm saying at this point. Maybe I'm crashing out. Maybe this is me having a crash out moment. If like Jake was here, he would tell me I'm crashing out right now. So, yeah. Anyway, back to painting and talking about things. Actually, one last thing on that. I do know there is one other monster in Monster Hunter in general that also eats like that, of just swallowing things whole. And it's the only one that looks like an anglerfish. I think it's in Monster Hunter 3... which is when they also bring like Lagiacrus, which is one of my favorite. Oh, maybe if I paint this guy as Lagiacrus. The only other minis I've ordered from Etsy have been the these guys, the like guardsman models that I was going to do for Trench Crusade and stuff like that. Also, I might have now decided my color scheme for this guy. I think I'm still along the right track, but yeah, we're gonna do him in the Lagiacrus colors. He's not perfect. Oh, maybe that's what I'll buy next, is a Lagiacrus model and try to paint that on stream. That might be fun to do. Yeah, I will say this model I thought would be a lot bigger when I ordered it. But, you know, I'm also kind of happy it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. Initially, I thought it was going to be like a 2-foot long model. which is kind of what I wanted. I wanted a really big, like, turtle-looking model. But I'm also happy with this. Now, I'm going to go after stream and look up Monster Hunter models and see if I can find a Lagiacrus one, because that's cool. Also, I've also so many things being said. My brain is moving faster than my mouth is moving faster than my brain, or one of those ways. But I'm adding Lagiacrus to my chapter's home world. You cannot stop me. This is not an official GW or anything like that. If I want to add a cool creature to my world, I will do so. It's my homeworld chapter. I can do what I want. Also, the timing on... So I've been researching like how to make your own homebrew chapter for like a while now and all that stuff. And in the newest issue of White Dwarf, which I bought, I do have. In the newest issue of White Dwarf, like this one, 515. They have a section. Let's see if I can get the light not to be too weird. If you can read it, it says create a chapter and then chapter approved. They came out with a way of like how they make the chapters of Space Marines. And I'm like, this is perfect. This came out at a perfect time for me. I do like a lot of monsters from like Monster Hunter in general. Glavenus is another one. Oh, I love Glavenus. I like the acidic Glavenus over its normal variant. For anyone that's played Monster Hunter Wild, oh, acidic Glavenus was so much fun to fight for me. Well, okay. I say fun because I'm looking back on it fondly. It is a pain to fight. But I enjoyed fighting him. I like his armor. I like his design. I think a lot of what I'm going to add to this world is literally just Monster Hunter creatures. Yeah, that would kind of... That does kind of suck. I didn't know that they did that. Actually, they used to show off like people's like homemade minis and other stuff like that too. The issue is they realize like, oh, if we show people how to make things on their own, they won't, spend money on the things that we make. So we got to stop doing that and try to push them to buy things that we make. I'm also excited to try the new, like, they pretty much added Space Marine 2 to the Warhammer tabletop. So I'm excited to try that with a friend. Because it's supposed to be like, you both play as Space Marines, and then you go against Tyranids that do X or Y. I think it would have been better if they did it as like one person plays as Tyranids and another person plays as the Space Marines. But who knows? I've been trying to play Monster Hunter Wilds for a little bit now. And I think I need to upgrade some parts of my computer to be able to play it. Because it keeps crashing every time I start it up. I don't even get to the title screen. I get to the part of loading into the title screen, and then it crashes. And there's so many things I could do to fix it, but I'm like, this is so confusing and so many steps. It throws me off from wanting to even try to fix it and want to play it. So, going what Jay said. He said, I received a photo booth recently from eBay. So I have a nice picture of my minis and terrain for a new Instagram. It's slow going, but I'm getting there. Like slow going on getting them all taking pictures of, or slow going on getting the Instagram growing? Because it is slow growing getting Instagram going. I think mine is at... It's under 80 people that are following it. I don't post very often. I'm lacking on my posts. Like, I posted Abaddon for... Oh, I appreciate the follow. I haven't really advertised the Instagram on here in a while, and I don't think I fully will advertise it as much as I used to. But yeah, Instagram can be very slow going. I think out of all the platforms that I've tried growing on, and I've only tried 3, well, I haven't done much on Twitch. So I would say between YouTube and Instagram, YouTube is definitely faster to grow on than Instagram. But you also have to like figure how the whole system works, and I'm not really down with playing the whole game of like trying to figure out the algorithm, and like it is luck based at the end of the day too. Like sometimes like the smallest channel will blow up. I've been getting a lot of videos of people like, oh, like, you know, big creator does X, but I only post this and have this many people. And then I go and look at the channel, and it's like, okay, so when you took that picture, you probably had that many people at the time, but because you made this post, you've grown like 3 times that size. So is the whole point of Instagram just to beg for views and follows and stuff? Because if that's the case, I'm not the biggest fan of that. As you should. You should use social media as a tool to help promote your businesses, or even just your hobby things in general. Like, it doesn't have to be just... I'm not sure how to word it, but... yeah. Social media should be used as a tool, not just a way to get views and stuff like that. Yeah, it should be just for fun. Like, if that's why I post and all that stuff. I mean, this is my opinion. Like, I get on and I stream because I enjoy painting and talking with people here, but I also enjoy rambling. It's all for fun. I'm not doing this for an end-all, be-all goal. I post on Instagram because I want to show off my finished minis when I have a chance, or when I do finish them. I will keep that in mind. I will see if... okay, now that I know, I'll take a look at some point on what you have. And maybe I'll purchase some. It all depends. I'm very stingy when it comes to certain things. Like, I always feel like terrain, I could just build it myself. But I never give myself the time to build it. Okay. I know it is a short stream compared to what I normally do. But at least, I don't know, I got 2 hours up. I think I'm going to call it here just so I can get some sleep. And tomorrow I'm going to shoot for being on at 4. Not 4. Why 4? I mean, I'm going to shoot for being on at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Jay says, I haven't put up a site up yet. That's in the works. Just need to find a good platform like Squarespace. Oh yeah, no, fair. Definitely like do your research and figure out like where you want to promote yourself or sell yourself and all that. But yeah, I think for tonight and for my own well-being, I'm going to call it here. Tomorrow, besides painting this guy, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to bring the terrain piece here tomorrow, and I'll have that primed black. It is painted yellow at the moment, but I'm going to prime it black, add in my terrain paint, set this guy in so he sinks in a little bit, and then pull him out. Or maybe wait till it's like a little bit dry so a lot of the paint won't stick to him. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm still like figuring out. Maybe tomorrow we'll just do painting this guy and then work on the terrain piece at another point. So many ideas. So many ideas. And I'm like, they're all jumbled. I'm not sure how to get them done. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you want, feel free to like and subscribe. Like I said, next stream is tomorrow at 6 p.m. to make up for the late one today. Hopefully, as long as I don't get pulled away and all that. And we might have a stream this weekend. Just keep your eyes and ears open for that. If you want to support the channel in any sort of way, I do have a coffee account that you can donate to. Anything you donate goes straight back into the channel to help improve equipment and all that stuff. But you don't need to. Just having you here, hanging out, watching, listening to me ramble is more than enough. I appreciate every single one of you. Now, I want you to go out there and make something awesome. I know you will.